Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Bachelor Nation News. Fans, the studio lights gleamed like 1,000 tiny stars, casting a surreal glow over the Golden Bachelor set. Cameras rolled endlessly, capturing every smile, every awkward laugh, and every fleeting glance. But behind the glitz and glamour of roses and candlelit dates, a storm was quietly brewing, one that no audience member could have anticipated. Cindy Reynolds, the beloved contestant who had captured hearts with her warmth and humor, was usually the star of these dramatic moments. But tonight, all eyes weren't on her. They were on her daughter, Emma Reynolds, who had just arrived unexpectedly on the scene. Emma Reynolds had always been the quieter presence in Cindy's life, watching from the sidelines as her mother navigated the unpredictable world of televised romance. But tonight, she had something to say. Something that would send shockwaves through the Golden Bachelor fanbase. "I can't just stay silent anymore," Emma said, her voice trembling but resolute. Cameras pivoted toward her as producers tried to mask their surprise. The audience held its collective breath. Emma took a deep breath, her eyes locking onto the camera as if speaking directly to every fan watching at home. "Mel Owens, I don't trust his intentions," she began, her words measured but sharp. "I've seen things behind the scenes that the cameras don't catch. My mom deserves more than just a pretty smile and rehearsed compliments." Gasps echoed through the studio. The host tried to intervene with a reassuring smile. "Emma, that's quite a statement." "No, let me finish," Emma insisted. "This isn't about drama or ratings. It's about honesty. Mel comes across as charming, but I've noticed how he treats the other contestants. It's manipulative, and I can't watch my mom get hurt because the audience is dazzled by his surface-level charm." Cindy, standing nearby, looked torn. Her hand instinctively reached for her daughter's. The studio cameras caught the tension perfectly, the contrast between Cindy's radiant composure and Emma's fiery determination. It was a moment that would be replayed endlessly on social media. Mel, who had been watching from across the stage, blinked in disbelief. His carefully crafted image of the perfect bachelor was unraveling before millions of viewers. I don't know what to say," he stammered, but the damage was done. The discussion quickly escalated into a tense confrontation. Emma revealed stories of private interactions, subtle manipulations, and even moments where Mel's charm had masked his less flattering traits. "I'm not saying he's a bad person. I'm saying you need to see the full picture before falling for him completely." Fans across social media exploded. Twitter hashtags like #EmmaSpeaksOut and #GoldenBachelorDrama began trending worldwide. Memes, reaction videos, and heated debates filled every corner of the internet. For the first time in the show's history, a contestant's family member had openly challenged the star of the show on live television. Backstage, Cindy wrestled with a whirlwind of emotions. Part of her wanted to defend Mel, to trust the journey she had chosen. But another part of her, her motherly instincts, was grateful for Emma's courage. Could it be that her daughter's words were exactly what she needed to see before making a life-changing decision? Meanwhile, Mel retreated to a private corner of the set, his usual confident demeanor replaced by visible unease. For years, he had relied on charm and charisma to navigate relationships. But Emma's fearless confrontation exposed a vulnerability he wasn't prepared for. "You don't get to control the narrative anymore," she whispered to her mother during a brief backstage moment. "This is about you, not him." Cindy nodded, a mixture of gratitude and apprehension flooding her expression. For the first time, she felt truly seen, not as a contestant, but as a person deserving honesty and care. The episode ended on a cliffhanger, with Cindy standing alone under the studio lights, the weight of Emma's words lingering in the air. Would she confront Mel directly? Would she trust her heart or heed her daughter's warning? The screen faded to black, leaving fans desperate for the next episode. The Golden Bachelor mansion felt different. The air was thick with whispers, speculation, and the heavy weight of Emma's words from the previous night. Contestants exchanged cautious glances, unsure how this revelation would affect the delicate balance of alliances and budding romances. Cindy sat by the grand window in her suite, the sunlight spilling across her face, illuminating the inner conflict that had taken root overnight. She absent-mindedly traced the rim of her coffee cup, thinking of Emma's warning. Manipulative. Charming, but not sincere. Her daughter's words repeated like a drumbeat in her mind. Could she truly trust Mel when her own instincts were screaming caution? Before she could dwell too long, the door opened. Mel stepped in, attempting his usual confident smile, but it faltered when he saw the steely look in Cindy's eyes. "Cindy, can we talk?" he asked, trying to keep his tone casual. Cindy set the cup down and leaned back, her posture a mix of guardedness and resolve. "We need to, Mel. But this isn't just about us. My daughter has raised serious concerns, and I can't ignore them." Mel's smile tightened. "Emma? I didn't expect this. I mean, she's young. She doesn't know how this works." "She's not just young. She's observant. And she sees things you think are hidden. And honestly, after what she said, I'm starting to see them too." The tension in the room was palpable. Mel's usual charm was no match for Cindy's newfound assertiveness, bolstered by her daughter's courage. The conversation quickly escalated into a heated exchange. Words were exchanged, carefully measured, but loaded with unspoken implications. "You can't just control how everyone sees me," Mel finally said, frustration creeping into his tone. "I'm here trying to find love, not to be accused." "I'm not accusing. I'm observing. I'm asking questions. And if you're truly sincere, you'll understand that's necessary before I give my heart completely." Back in the mansion's main lounge, Emma watched from a distance, arms crossed, heart pounding. She had expected Cindy to confront Mel, but seeing her mother speak with such authority filled her with pride. For years, Cindy had been the kind, agreeable one, often putting others' feelings above her own. But now, fortified by her daughter's insight, Cindy was a force to be reckoned with. Meanwhile, the other contestants couldn't ignore the ripple effect of Emma's revelations. Alliances formed in whispers, secret conversations unfolded behind closed doors. Some contestants quietly thanked Emma, while others glared, perceiving her as a threat to their own chances. The mansion had transformed from a playground of romance into a chessboard of strategy and suspicion. Later that evening, the rose ceremony loomed, a symbolic and emotional culmination of everything that had transpired. Cindy walked down the hall with measured steps, the weight of expectation pressing down on her. Cameras followed every subtle glance, every hesitant smile. Mel watched, tension evident in his eyes. The charm he had relied on for years no longer had its usual effect. When Cindy received her rose, the studio erupted in applause, but her mind was elsewhere. She met Emma backstage afterward, a quiet moment away from the flashing cameras. "Thank you," Cindy whispered, pulling her daughter into a tight hug. "You made me see what I was too afraid to admit." Emma smiled softly, her heart swelling with relief. That's what daughters are for, to protect, to warn, and to remind you of your worth. Yet, even as mother and daughter shared this quiet victory, the story was far from over. Mel, bruised but not defeated, retreated to reconsider his approach. The man who had once thought charm was enough now faced the daunting task of proving sincerity, not just to Cindy, but to a nationwide audience who had already begun to question his motives. The next day's group date brought even more unexpected twists. A mysterious letter arrived for Cindy containing a clue about Mel's past relationships and hinting at decisions he had made before the cameras even rolled. The tension escalated as Cindy read it aloud to the group, her voice steady but tinged with disbelief. Contestants exchanged shocked glances and murmurs spread like wildfire. Fans at home exploded with speculation. What could Mel have hidden? Could Emma's concerns have been justified? Mel, standing silently nearby, felt the sting of scrutiny. For the first time, he realized that transparency was no longer optional. Every gesture, every word, every smile was now bisected under a microscope. And for Cindy, this moment became a test of heart, intuition, and resilience. By the time the sun set over the Golden Bachelor mansion, alliances had shifted, secrets were threatening to surface, and the stakes were higher than ever. Cindy knew one thing for certain: she would no longer navigate this journey blindly. With Emma by her side, her instincts sharpened and a newfound courage burning within her, she was ready to face whatever or whoever came next. And as fans speculated endlessly online, one thing became clear: the Golden Bachelor would never be the same again. The mansion buzzed with uneasy energy. Cindy walked down the marble staircase, her heels clicking against the polished floor like a drumbeat of anticipation. The other contestants whispered behind their hands, eyes darting toward her and Emma. No one had ever dared to challenge the Golden Bachelor's aura of charm so directly, and the air was thick with curiosity and tension. Emma stayed close, her presence both protective and reassuring. "Remember," she whispered softly, "truth first, heart second. Don't let anyone make you doubt yourself." Cindy nodded, feeling the weight of her daughter's words. The day's group date promised romance and intimacy, but it quickly became a battlefield of emotions. Mel had arranged an elaborate picnic by the edge of the mansion's private lake, complete with floating lanterns and a violinist playing soft melodies. On the surface, it seemed like a perfect cinematic moment, but Cindy could no longer look past the cracks. As the group laughed and shared stories, Cindy's mind wandered to Emma's warnings. She remembered the subtle ways Mel had tried to isolate contestants, the small comments that seemed charming but carried a hidden edge. She noticed a fleeting smirk when one of the women faltered in conversation, the way he had a habit of redirecting attention to himself. Finally, she could hold back no longer. "Mel," she said, standing abruptly, drawing the attention of the entire group. Her voice carried a firmness that silenced the laughter. Mel's smile faltered. "Cindy, what do you mean?" he asked, though his unease was visible. "I mean this," she continued. "Emma raised concerns about your intentions. She warned me to watch carefully. And I have. I've noticed the same patterns. I need to know, are you here for real love, or are you here for the game?" A hush fell over the group. The violinist's melody seemed to falter. Contestants exchanged nervous glances. Some secretly admired Cindy's courage, while others wondered how this confrontation would shift the dynamics. Mel hesitated, swallowing hard. "Cindy, I swear I came here for you, for real connection. I didn't expect anyone to question me like this." But the hesitation in his eyes betrayed him. Cindy noticed it immediately. "You've hesitated," she said gently but firmly. "Your words and actions don't align. And that's exactly what Emma warned me about." Before Mel could respond, a staff member approached, delivering an envelope addressed to Cindy. Her hands trembled slightly as she opened it. Inside was a letter, handwritten and personal. It read, "Cindy, I know you deserve honesty. Mel has a history of playing hearts, not caring for them. He once led someone on for months before leaving without explanation. Watch carefully. Trust your instincts." The group fell silent. Some contestants gasped. Emma's eyes widened. Her fears were being confirmed, and her mother's intuition was already sensing the danger. Cindy looked up, locking eyes with Mel. "Is this true?" she asked, her voice unwavering. Mel's gaze flickered, a shadow crossing his features. "Cindy, it's complicated. I didn't want this to come out. I didn't want to hurt anyone." Cindy's heart sank. She realized that charm, gestures, and carefully curated moments were not enough. Her decision had to be rooted in truth, and right now, truth was fragile and fleeting. Later that evening, the rose ceremony approached like a storm. The mansion's ballroom shimmered with golden lights, and contestants lined up, each aware that alliances and secrets had shifted irreversibly. Cindy held Emma's hand, drawing strength from her unwavering support. When it came time to hand out the roses, Cindy took a deep breath. She approached Mel, her expression unreadable. "I've listened,
I've observed, and I've thought long and hard, and I've made my choice, not based on charm, not based on fear, but based on what I know to be true." The room held its breath. Mel's confident demeanor had dissolved into uncertainty. Cindy reached into her purse, pulling out the rose. She extended it, but then paused. Every eye in the ballroom was fixed on her. I cannot give this rose," she said firmly. "Not yet. Not without honesty and not without trust." Gasps echoed through the room. Contestants whispered, some relieved, some astonished. Emma squeezed her mother's hand, tears welling in her eyes. "You did the right thing," she whispered. Mel's face paled. For the first time, the man who had relied on charm and appearances realized that actions had consequences beyond the screen. He nodded slowly, a mix of regret and respect flickering across his features. Cindy turned to the other contestants, her voice carrying warmth and clarity. "This journey isn't just about roses. It's about knowing your heart, trusting your instincts, and having the courage to stand up for yourself. I hope you all remember that as you navigate your own paths." As the ceremony concluded, fans erupted online. Social media exploded with praise for Cindy and Emma's bravery, sparking conversations about honesty, intuition, and the complex dynamics of televised romance. Memes, videos, and heartfelt messages flooded the internet. Golden Bachelor had never seen a moment like this. Backstage, Cindy and Emma embraced, both exhausted and exhilarated. "I couldn't have done this without you," Cindy said, tears streaming down her cheeks. Emma smiled, her eyes shining. "You didn't need me. You just needed to trust yourself. But I'm proud I could be here when you did." And as the mansion lights dimmed for the night, Cindy realized something profound. Love wasn't about roses, charm, or perfection. It was about honesty, courage, and the bonds that withstand scrutiny, even when the world was watching. For Golden Bachelor fans, one thing was certain. The game had changed forever, and Cindy's journey, guided by her daughter's fearless insight, had just set a new standard for bravery, love,
The days
and
following the
authenticity.
rose ceremony were tense. The mansion, usually filled with laughter, now carried an air of uncertainty. Contestants whispered behind closed doors, some speculating about Cindy's bold decision, others quietly reassessing their own chances. But for Cindy, the moment had sparked a clarity she had never experienced before. She was determined to reclaim her journey on her own terms. Emma, ever vigilant, stayed close. "Mom, you've got this," she said softly as they walked through the mansion's garden, lanterns twinkling around them like stars. "You're stronger than any charm or facade Mel can throw at you." Cindy smiled, but her heart still raced. She knew the coming days would test her in ways no camera could capture. Later that evening, a surprise individual appeared at the mansion. One of Mel's former connections, someone who had first-hand insight into his behavior. The producers, sensing the drama brewing, quickly orchestrated a private meeting with Cindy and Emma. "Cindy," the woman began cautiously, "I wasn't sure if I should speak, but you deserve to know. Mel, he has a pattern. He says he's changed, but I've seen similar behavior before. He can be persuasive, but not always honest." Emma's eyes narrowed. "Exactly what I've been saying. You can't ignore this." Cindy listened intently, a storm of emotions swirling within her. Betrayal, frustration, but also empowerment. She realized that while the journey had promised love, it also demanded discernment. She wasn't just navigating a dating show, she was navigating life. The next day, the mansion buzzed with the news of an unscheduled Truth Night, a live segment where contestants could confront lingering questions. Cameras captured every heartbeat, every glance, every pause. Cindy knew this was her moment. She would no longer let charm dictate her heart. She would demand authenticity. When the moment arrived, Cindy stepped forward. "I've spent the past week reflecting," she began, her voice
steady but firm. I've listened, observed, and questioned everything. And I've realized that love, real love, isn't just about roses, dates, or admiration. It's about honesty, trust, and being seen for who you truly are. The audience leaned down. Mel shifted uncomfortably, aware that his carefully maintained image was cracking. I've decided, Cindy continued, that my journey will not be dictated by charm alone. I will not settle for less than the truth, and I will not compromise my heart. This is about love, but it's also about self-respect. A hush fell over the room. Contestants exchanged glances, sensing the gravity of her declaration. Then, in a move that stunned everyone, Cindy addressed Mel directly. Mel, I need you to decide. Are you here for real love or for the spotlight? Because if you cannot be honest, I cannot continue this journey with you. Mel's usual confidence wavered. He swallowed hard, realizing that his rehearsed words and gestures were no longer enough. For the first time, he was faced with the consequences of his past actions fully illuminated in the harsh light of truth. I am here for love, he admitted, voice tight. I didn't anticipate how hard it would be to earn your trust, but I mean it. I'm serious about this. About you. Cindy studied him carefully. Her heart was willing, but her mind demanded proof. Actions, not words, she said simply. Show me. Not for the cameras, but for me. The group watched in silence as Cindy walked away, leaving Mel to reflect on the weight of her words. Emma, standing by her mother's side, whispered, "That's right, Mom. Don't settle for anything less than what you deserve." Over the following days, Mel attempted to demonstrate sincerity, small gestures, honest conversations, and unguarded moments. Yet Cindy's intuition remained her guide. She saw through the charm when it wasn't matched by consistency, and she rewarded authenticity when it was genuine. Meanwhile, contestants who had initially viewed Cindy as mere participant began to admire her resilience. They realized that the lessons unfolding weren't just about romantic connections. They were about courage, self-awareness, and the power of listening to one's instincts. Finally, the climactic rose ceremony arrived. Cindy stood in the ground ballroom, Emma at her side, bathed in golden light. Contestants held their breath as she approached Mel, her expression unreadable. "I've seen your efforts," she said, voice calm yet commanding. "I've listened to your words and observed your actions. But this journey isn't about testing charm. It's about finding authenticity." The audience leaned in. Mel shifted uncomfortably, held the rose, then paused, gazing into Mel's eyes. "I choose truth. And with that, I will give this rose to the person who has proven they can honor it." Mel's hands trembled. As he accepted the rose, in that moment, the cameras captured not just a rose, but a profound lesson. Love is not about illusions. It is earned through honesty, courage, and respect. Emma, tears in her eyes, embraced her mother backstage. "You did it, Mom. You trusted yourself." Cindy smiled, her heart full. "No, Emma, we did it. Together." As the credits rolled and fans across the world tweeted, streamed, and debated the episode, one truth was undeniable. Cindy and Emma had rewritten the rules of The Golden Bachelor. They had shown that love wasn't about yielding to charm or spectacle. It was about trust, courage, and standing up for what truly mattered. And as the mansion lights dimmed for the final time that night, Cindy realized something extraordinary. She hadn't just found love, she had found herself.